I saw her for the first time in the library in the section of fiction, and she was giving some young sisters a lesson on diction. She said, enunciate, pronunciate, hold your heads high when you speak. I peered through the books in the section of fiction to watch this older woman teach. I watched her from a few tables over, pretending to be into my books, as she took them on a journey through history and social studies, even tips on preserving their looks. She explained to them that they were descendants of queens who ruled Egypt and not just slaves. Although that part of our history was just as important as learning our God-given names. As she instructed her pupils, she nurtured them with wisdom, motherly, almost instinctively. And as she moved about them with the grace of a noble, her students, they watched her attentively. She finished her lessons with blessings for each, then stood by the door as each one hit the streets. Bye, Serendipity, they said as they passed. And she kissed the hand of each, from the first to the last. And as her last student hit the streets, she watched the setting sun and whispered, Allah, give me more time, for my job here is undone. I wondered what she meant, but was much too afraid to ask. I just watched from a distance as almost 3 years rolled past. I watched them grow in number. I watched them grow in wisdom. I watched them grow from hard-haired ghetto girls to beautiful, young, strong, black women. And though I didn't know it then, I was a pupil too. Because she taught me things about my people I admit I never knew. One day, I went to the library and I sat in a section of fiction. The girls were there, but Serendipity wasn't. And I strained my ears to listen as the eldest girl whispered to the younger with no tears but a certain sadness in her eyes, explaining how a cancer took Serendipity and that the night before she had died. And to my surprise, not one girl cried. I wasn't as strong as Serendipity's girls. I ran as fast as I could, blinded by tears and deafened by my own sobs. I stumbled my way back through the hood. A few years have gone by since then, and now I'm a man. And I finally returned to that library with my own daughter in hand. Together, we stood in the section of fiction. Were my ears deceiving me? No. I heard a lesson on diction. She said, enunciate, pronunciate, hold your heads high when you're speaking. I peered through the books in a section of fiction to see just who it was that was teaching. It was the youngest of Serendipity's girls. You see, the elders had kept them together. And I see now that through her girls, Serendipity lives forever. I'm still not as strong as Serendipity's girls. I felt a tear fall between my feet. But instead of stumbling my way back through the hood, I told my daughter, sweetheart, go have a seat. Live on, Serendipity.